Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast, where we've got just a light pre-Christmas preview for you. Just the 6 races we're going to get stuck into this Saturday between Ascot and Haydock. Does feature the Grade 1 long walk, so it's not a poor weekend by any stretch, but just not too many races. So it'll be quality, not quantity. And for that quality, we've got Matchbook's own Micheál Deasy scarfed up. You a bit cold there, Dees?
Yeah, I'm in the office today and someone left the window open and it's actually warmer outside than it is inside here now at the moment. So I have the scarf on, Matchbook scarf, and I have the aircon on as well. So that's what the low buzzing sound is.
I don't see how it could be colder inside than outside if the outside has caused the coolness inside, D. So this doesn't. How does that add up?
Don't worry about it, Tom.
It's probably the aircon. The man with all the answers is Steve Jones. He really has all the answers because he's written a quiz book. So, Jonesy, just do it now while people are watching, people are listening. The build up to Christmas, the perfect Christmas gift is what, Steve Jones?
Under starters orders, racing quiz book, £10 plus postage and packaging. Every penny of the tenner goes to the Injured Jockeys Fund, so it's for a fantastic cause. Tony McCoy, Paul Nichols, Nick Luck, and Tom Mark on Hollydor. About 25 racing celebs have also done a round, so it's not just my questions and my co-author Chris Coley's. You can get it from www.thehorseracingquizbook.co.uk, or on the IJF website, or at the races on the IJF stand for the Injured Jockeys. So please buy it, because lockdown was very traumatic for me writing that book, and I don't want it to go to waste.
Yeah, John Francome's done around. Cornelius Lyce's done around.
John Francome, yeah.
Lots of racing presenters have done around, and some weren't even asked. Don't forget, do that, because it is very good. It's a very good quiz book, and it does make an excellent gift for Christmas. Over 1,000 questions in there, so do it, and it is for an excellent cause, as Jonesy says. Right.
I have got one answer though.
Go on.
I think Deasy's left the fridge door open.
Yeah,
he should go and shut the fridge. That's why it's colder inside than out.
That's what it is. It's all that midnight feasting. More plugs, Matchbook plugs now. Go to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of our bets. So the 6 bets plus the best bets will be up, and that is the same for all of the pods. There's the Premier League preview, which is up there. They'll have a post up on Insights, and also the NFL pod, which is going to be coming up later on today. That'll be up there on Insights as well, with all the bets there. If you're liking our content on YouTube, give this video a like, and of course subscribe. It's very easy to do so. You can do it for free. And if you're listening on your preferred podcast app, give us a review and give us a follow on there as well. Right, that is it. Business done. Let's get stuck into the previews. We'll start with the Grade 1 action in the form of the 225 at Ascot. It's the Howden long walk hurdle. We're over 3.5 miles a furlong. And Buzz is stepping up in trip, is 3.0. Time Hill is 4.0. 7.0 is Ronald Pump. Champ is in there at 8.5. And then we're into the bigger prices. Paisley Park's in there at double figures. Shock horror. Right, Deasy and I have found the winner. So, Jonesy, you can go first and take it away. You're not with Buzz, Jonesy.
I just can't understand the betting for this race. Buzz 6-4. Really? I know he's a nice horse, and he's a progressive, and he's got but this is all priced up on potential. He's never run over 3 miles, and he's stepping into a Grade 1 race for his first try at 3 miles against the last up and coming horse in Time Hill, and the best that there's been for a good while in Paisley Park, and then there's others in there, Ronald Pump and Chat. In no way on earth should he be 2.5, and I've already made the first mistake of the day by saying 6-4, and I realised that. And I know he's in play, but he travels so well. He looked really, really good last time when he won at Ascot, beating Song for Someone, who showed last time that although he's got a lot of talent, he doesn't always use it. And I think if Buzz stays the trip, then yeah, he could be a champion, because the way he travels, he's got a lot of class. But I've been looking down the list of runs, What piece of form has he got that says he should be a Grade 1 horse? I mean, Abracadabra ran all over him at Aintree, and it wasn't until he dropped the anchor in the closing stages that Bus picked him up. And Bus was, what, 2 lengths in front of Miller's Bank? Well, that's not 2.5 for a Grade 1 when you're not proven at the distance. So Time Hill for me is the starting point. I mean, if it wasn't for the ground last year, he'd have won this race last year, because I just thought he got just run down in the closing stages by Paisley Park when the ground was very heavy. And although it's going to be on the soft side, it's not going to be anywhere near as bad. Don't worry about his run in France. People are getting wound up in that. You've got to get to France. The ground's always terrible. They run a real weird way in France, and it doesn't suit some horses. But you look at Time Hill's form, it's just rock solid the whole way through. He was unlucky to be beaten in the Albert Bartler a couple of years ago at the festival by Monkfish, obviously top class. He was obviously beaten in this race last year by Paisley Park and Neck when he looked to have it sewn up. And then last time in France, as I say, don't worry about that. And he's won every other race. He should be favourite. Absolutely no doubt about it. I'd like to have seen Philip Hobbs's horses running a bit better, but I always think the top horses can run through a bit of poor stable form, and that is what Time Hill is. And the other horse, who would you want to back? The best staying hurdler there's been in the last 3 years at double figures, or a horse who's never run over the distance at 2.5? It is insane. Winning place on Paisley Park, it's got to be a saver. I mean, last time I can see why they tried to do it. They tried to make the running in a race that didn't have any pace in. He went through that race really well, but they just got racing way too soon. And he just didn't have the finishing kick that has been his trademark, that real power charge. And I know before that he was beaten at Wetherby, but that the ground was, and the track was probably a bit sharp from Anne. It was his seasonal reappearance. There's no way people should be writing off Paisley Park at this stage. So, for me, in a nutshell, Time Hill to win and a saver winning place on Paisley Park.
I like this race, the nature of it, because it's got people talking, which is good. First of all, I just bring in a few comments from those watching. So, Wayne, welcome along. Wayne has said Ronald Pump, surely, each way at, we go win and place, Wayne. 7.0, surely a great bet, question mark. David Pym has said purely on his engine, shouldn't Champ nearly be fab? Don't know. He's interesting that they've chucked him back over hurdles. And hello, Helen.
The wrong way round.
You're along as well. Hi, Helen. Welcome back. Yes, I do need something for the throat. I think just stay with you, Jonesy. Just on that. Before we send you off for this race, where are you on Champ and horses like Ronald Pump? But Champ first of all.
Well, I did a 4 after Cheltenham for another people I work for. I did 4 horses for next Cheltenham Festival, and they rang me up the other day and said, "Have you seen the horses that you've?" And they've all shortened. Statler was one, Bob Ollinger was another, but Champ for the Stairs Hurdle I've forgotten all about. So I hope he runs well. But he's got the talent, but he's 9 now. He's going to be 10 in a few weeks. He's got to start doing it, and they've always said he needs to go left-handed. Well, the last time I looked, Ascot was the other way around, which is a bit of a worry. But yeah, I hope he runs well. I really do, because he has got a lot of talent.
Helen thinks that if he's got him, David thinks if he's got him fit first amount of ability, he's right there over hers. I mean, it's just the pricing for me. I don't want to back him at those sort of prices, particularly on the last evidence we saw of him in a race. Right, DC. Nobody's mentioned the good thing so far. Thomas Darby said, "Take it away." You finally come round to the Ollie Murphy way of thinking, DC.
I have, and like you said, no, this is a tough race. You wouldn't really rule any of them out of it, but I just thought he was very good the last time. They put the tongue tie on him, made a big difference. Sure, I backed him last year for the Stairs Hurdle, and he ran the Carl Cup, so that was a bit of money done. But he's always had a lot of potential, and he lived up to it last time. Now he is a bit of a Spursy horse that he's quite inconsistent. But even if you go back through his form, like he's run.
Sorry,
16
sorry. Don't ever. Unacceptable to use the word Spursy when a Spurs fan is hosting the show. So you just simply cannot get away with that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you go back to his form, like he's finishing the first 8 out of a 16 runs, so he's very consistent that way. While also being inconsistent, that he just doesn't get his head in front when you think he will. But I thought he was very much improved the last day. He is a nice price for this as well. What price is he, Tom? Is he 11.0?
Now he is Micheál, and Steve has said wherever Thomas Darby, you've just written this in the private chat, Steve, wherever Tom Darby finishes, Paisley Park is in front of him. So they're both 11.0. So we got a little match bet, right? What's at stake? How about a copy of Understarter's orders, Steve? If Thomas Darby finishes in front of Paisley Park, Deasy and I are going to get please a signed copy of Understarter's orders.
Well, he was 10 and 3/4 lengths behind him the last time, Paisley Park.
Do you know what's the race, Dees? They got racing way too early, and Paisley Park just got tired, and making the running didn't suit him. And if he does finish in front, I want that scarf, because I've been doing this podcast for so long and I've never got any branded stuff. All you boys come with all your clothes. I can't afford new clothes, so I want your scarf,
Jonesy. We have about 4,000 of these lovely Matchbook scarves here. Oh, sorry, the right one there now. There we go. So I'll send over a couple of cases for you. Okay. Very nice. Anyway, back to Thomas Darby. Yeah, I just think he's a great winning place betting this. But it's a very good race. In fairness, it's a really good renewal for a division that isn't probably the most exciting to some people. But this is a top quality race. But I think that I can't see him being outside of the first 3. So we'll definitely do a win place bet, and hopefully he continues on his good form and gets the head in front.
Yeah, all I'll add to that is, for me, it was between Thomas Darby and Time Hill. I think Time Hill's probably a fair bet at that price. I think there's a case for him being a lot closer to Buzz in the betting. Buzz can win at that price. Go on, Dees.
I just want to just Wayne mentioned Randall Pump there as well. Like he's a rock solid, very consistent horse. But at that price, if you're having a win place or an each way bet, that's an account clause, lads. So you want to keep holding till Cheltenham at least. So not in the exchange. So maybe that's the way to do it. Get your Matchbook account going and back them in the win market and the place market and the extra place markets that we offer now as well.
The thing with Buzz for me at that price is there'll be plenty of people that think he's a bet and they'll back him and he might well go and win. But just horses of that profile, I do think he's the wrong price. And I think if you back enough of them, well, you'll be on the way to the poor school. Go on.
If you think he's going to win, like, wouldn't you be better off backing him for the stairs hurdle at whatever he is now, 7.0? Because if he wins this race at that price, he's going to be 4.0 for the stairs.
Yeah.
So getting your bit of value that way, like he's a short enough price here for this. I actually think the Time Hill will probably go off favourite. I think he'll be backed in. He probably is the best horse in the race. But again, we're just trying to get a bit of value.
The thing with Thomas Darby for me is that he tried 3 miles, probably a bit of an afterthought at the back end of last season, where he was 4.5 lengths behind Time Hill. Look, he was staying on. Wetherby. Ollie Murphy said that it wasn't that he needed the run. He said that it was tacky ground that didn't suit him. But I think the ground's going to be absolutely ideal. Also at Newbury, that was probably the first time that, because they got racing on their way out, that he had a proper test at the trip. And that really suited him.
He never looked like being caught once he got in front.
No, he sort of he fits into the, he's still unexposed over this. I thought he was a big price. So win and place for me, Thomas Darby. Steve, do you want to come back with anything else?
First of all, I wanted to say there's nothing wrong with a poor school. I went to one, Winchcombe Comprehensive. Don't. I know you posh lads like to go on about all how you dressed up at school in top hats and things, and in sang on a Sunday night and stuff. But anyway, the perfect setup for Thomas Darby at Newbury. They didn't go hard, and then they raced a long way out, so his stamina wasn't particularly tested, and he just smuggled into it. He won't do that again.
We'll send our addresses for the book. Thanks, Jonesy. Right, let's kick on. We're going to go back in time now to the handicap chase, which kicks off the ITV stuff at Ascot. This is the 150 over 2 mile 3. It's the Howden handicap chase, and 4.5 is Palmer's Hill. A point bigger for Guy, 7.0 Night in Dubai, 8.0 for Diego de Charmille, as is Financier and Sully Dock, and then we're into the bigger prices. Deasy, off to you first of all. You've got a couple possibilities.
Yeah, so the first one I picked out was Guy, Nigel Twiston-Davis's horse. Now, he has run it at Ascot twice, or sorry, he ran Ascot the last time, and he finished second to a Venetia horse named Pink Legend. That was over 2 mile 5. Now, if you watch that race, he kind of set off the pace, and in the home straight, he went for it. And he was closing very much on Pink Legend, but he absolutely clouted was it the second last? Second last, yeah. He was nearly upsides, went straight through it, lost about 3 or 4 lengths, and ended up losing by 3 lengths. That's the second time he's come second this year. He was his first race, he came second behind Senior Citizen, who went on to run a cracker at Aintree behind McTotty. So I think that's decent form. He's down the bottom of the weights here as well. He's getting a chance at the weights, and Nigel Twiston-Davis had a good weekend last week. I think that he can. I think that he can carry on that form, hopefully. And would he be win only? He's a short enough price. He's second in the betting. The other one I was looking at was Night in Dubai. Now, there's a few caveats to this horse. Obviously, he returned there from a long break last time to finish 5th. Now, I think he ran better than his finishing placing suggested. I mean, it was obviously just a first run after a long break. Wouldn't have been fully tuned up. He finished off the race fairly well. Like, they weren't getting away from him. He just stayed on and on and on, but he was never going to win the race. But he was a fairly high class horse in his novice days. I'm not too sure what the problem was with him, but I mean, I was looking back at his first chase. He beat Ballymoy by 12 lengths, absolutely destroyed him without even coming off the bridle. He ran in the Imperial Auras the day he won the novice handicap chase at Cheltenham, and hasn't been seen since. Now, he's a skinny enough price as well, and I think he might need a bit more dig in the ground. So if Ascot water, there's a bit of rain, I'd be a lot stronger on him, but I would hold off on the day to see whether the money comes from, because I think if the skeletons are backing him, they know that they have him in the right spot. But he's an interesting one, I think. But Guy would be my main bet in it.
Guy and Night in Dubai for you. Night in Dubai 7.0 and Guy is a 6.5. Jonesy.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting race. I don't think it's priced up how I would do it. I liked Financier, who's got a very good record right-handed. In fact, he's got a perfect record right-handed. He's only run twice right-handed, and that's when Financier's both wins have been. But first time out, although he ran well first time out last year, I just thought this was a bit competitive first time out. So the solid one for me is Sully Dock, obviously named after our upstairs leader, Sully. But no, Sully Dock, I thought is returned in really good form. First time up was in that very fast run race won by a Moolah Gold at Ascot over this slightly shorter than this in October, when Sully Dock chased the fast pace, and I thought that was a really good return to action. Then ran really well behind before midnight, and a Moolah Gold again at Ascot, again over 2 miles. I thought that was a good race. Before midnight's a good horse, and to be only beaten a couple of lengths when you also messed around on the home turn, Sully Dock, I thought it was a good effort. And people are just getting carried away again with the fact that he didn't run very well at Newbury last time. That was only 7 days after he'd run at Ascot, and his best form is at Ascot. So I think returning here a little bit further will help. And 3 weeks since he ran at Newbury, the big meeting there. I think he's got an outstanding chance. And although Anthony Honeyball hasn't had many winners recently, he's had a hell of a lot of horses placed. So I don't think he's out of form at all. And coming back to Ascot, Sully Dock for me, real strong fancy for this one.
Can I just? So I was interested by him. The one sort of, I suppose, question mark I have is they whipped off the tongue tie and the cheek pieces, and that I sort of didn't see that as a good thing necessarily. So it half put me off, Jonesy. That was it. I'm not trying to throw you a curveball. I couldn't really work it out.
I'm not so sure about the tongue tie, but I'm also of the opinion that taking headgear off sometimes it works as well as putting it on. I think horses get used to it, especially the hood. The hood is definitely something that when you take it off, it has a bigger effect than when you put it on, especially over jumps. If you go back to last April at Aintree, Sully Dock finished second to Editor Deasy without cheek pieces, so it doesn't bother me at all, really.
I'm going to tip up a horse later on, which is on the hood off angle. So there you are. I'll follow you in on that. I'm with Dolos. It was between the two Nichols horses, between the two Mrs. Johnny De La Haye horses. Diego de Charmille, it should be half the price of Dolos, and he is 8.0 and 15.0 is Dolos. And Diego de Charmille, I don't know. I'm not going to back them both, but I can definitely make the case for him. I just wasn't certain the trip would suit, whereas I think it will suit Dolos. He's been dropped 5 for last time, which is right, and he's not really been cited much of late. But remember, Paul Nicholls said before the race last time, 154 was just too much for him, and he was half in no man's land. That's why he ran in a celebration chase, because he was rated 158. He's now 149. He likes the track. He definitely has to go this way around, and he wants good ground as well. So I thought 15.0 was I know he's top weight, but I thought it was a big price for Dolos. Back at a scene of a course and distance success. I remember when he won here a few years ago in a novice chase. He looks a really good horse, and he has turned into a very good horse, rated 160 at his peak. But I thought 149, now is the time to start thinking about having him on side. And he's a sort of price, 15.0, I think is very much worth having him on side. So there we are. Move on to the handicap hurdle subsequently. This is at Haydock. We're switching tracks. I think we're going to have is everyone working on soft ground at Haydock, Steve Dease? Yeah. Good. 205 then is over 2 mile 3. Micheál Duff is 5.5, 6.0 for Stella Magic. Bossman Fred 11.0. Little Awkward 11.0. Solar Motion, another Dan Skelton horse off an absence like Bossman Fred, like West Cork did a few weeks ago, is 11.0. Manila Charm at 13.0. Bigger prices off the back of that. DC kick us off.
Stella Magic, Philip Hobbs' horse. This is his first run of the season, but I went back and looked at his two maiden hurdles or novice hurdle wins last season at Taunton. I just thought he finishes off his races very well. I think he beat Alaphilippe in his last race there now by 3/4 of a length. Alaphilippe went on to, I think he's rated 146 now. Ran fairly well at the festival. The Stella Magic, actually, I think he chipped his knee, so that was the end of the season. But I really like the way he finished off his races. I think that and Tom O'Brien as well, I think he rode very well the last time. Micheál Nolan is on him here, but I think Philip Hobbs, he actually had brought one back recently for the same connections off a long break, and it won very well. I'm hoping he can do the same here. This is an open enough race. There's a few of them that could win, and I was looking at Angolo as well, but not too sure about backing horses that have moved from Willie Mullins to other trainers. There's a big change in his in the training schedule for him. But he'd be very interesting if further down the line if he runs well. But I just thought looking back through them all, I thought Stella Magic had probably the best looking form and the most potential improvement. So I'm fairly sweet on him here, and I'm hoping he's run a big race. And I think it's very good that it's going to come up soft. I wouldn't want to be very, very heavy, but soft will be fine.
What do you want to add to that, Steve? Stella Magic at 6.0?
Yeah, he's one of my horses to follow. I think he's very good. First time out, like Dee says, a little bit of a concern with the soft ground and the fact that he did have a setback, but he's just got a lot of talent, this horse. I was down at Taunton for Racing TV when he won in January, and I was just so impressed with him that I went home and backed him for the Ballymore, I think it was, about 200-1, which I thought was crazy. And I thought when he went to Warwick, he was 5-4, and I know he's under a double penalty, but I thought if he won there, he would only be maybe 10 or 12-1. And of course, he pulled up, didn't he? Because he chipped his knee, like Dee said. But that run at Taunton, the one thing, that was a very strong race. Alaphilippe is a good horse who proved that in the Albert Bartlett, and Tile Tapper had run well in the Tolworth. Revels Hill is, although it hasn't taken the form that far on, it did win afterwards in a handicap. So the form was good, and the way that Stella Magic jumped, he just floated over the hurdles, and I didn't think the sharp track was particularly in his favour. So he's one that I want to be with because I think he's got a lot of talent, but I'm expecting him to be even better in the coming months because I do think he's very good, and I would prefer to see Philip Hobbs in better form. But again, he is a good horse.
He's not. Yeah, Hobbs is not massively out of form, is he? But I suppose he was in slightly better form. I take the. I liked Stella Magic. I thought this was really difficult. I just wanted to play one at a slightly bigger price, which was Bossman Fred, who. He has won a handicap hurdle of 124. He's 132 now. That was way back in 2 years ago, beating Snow Leopardess, who looked very good when winning. Was she win the beach? Was she win the Beecher? She win anyway.
She won the Beecher.
She did.
She'd probably win the Grand National as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Another anti-post successful bet for you, Jonesy? No.
She's another of my favourite horses. My horses to follow.
You put her up in the Beecher, I know that. So I think he's well treated of 132. He went to Doncaster that season, and it was really disappointing. Obviously, not all well because then came back in October the following season last year and was disappointing over fences. So 440 days off the track. I suppose it's more about the trainer, and you could argue the same with Solar Motion. For all I wasn't sure that he wanted to go this way round. I remember there was a thing when he was with Nicky Henderson that he wanted to go right-handed. But it's the Dan Skelton off for a long time angle, a well-treated horse. I just thought he was too big at 11.0. It would be a small win and place bet for me. I don't have much more to add on that.
In all, in the Philip Hobbs farm as well is that like, he has only had 2 winners in the last 43 runs, but his good Saturday horses are running well. Hoyland won. He won at Sandown there. It was 2 weeks ago, and Zanza ran an absolute cracker as well last week. So, he runs a lot of horses, but the ones I suppose that are out for the big day are running well.
I think that's an interesting thing. I always think that the better horses can run through stable form better, or a bit of a dip in form than maybe the ordinary ones.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Tommy Whittle, which is the next race at Haydock, and obviously this is over 3 miles, 1.5 furlongs, remastered. Who may well have won last time, but we don't know. Came down 4 out, 4.5. Calypso Calange is 7.0. Buzz de Turcoing is 11.0. Sam's Adventure 12.0. As is Vintage Clouds, then it's double figures off the back of that. Do you mind if I make the case for On Guard first of all, Dees? So, because I'm pretty keen on the horse of all the bets. I thought he was nearly the best of them, not quite for me, but On Guard. Charlie Hammond and Richard Newland teaming up. He won at Ascot last year off the back of unseating in this when rated 124. It was going fine when unseating. He had won previous to that over hurdles. I still think of 128, he's fairly treated. He went off the 5.0 favourite for the Grand National trial, and then I don't think he stayed, to be honest. So I think that just stretched him a bit. He was pulled up in the Scottish Grand National off the back of that. He's had one go this season, so I think that could have hopefully just put him spot on. But the other key to that is that he seemed to want to go back this way around. Exeter, I know he's won at Ascot, but he seemed to jump left-handed. So I'm looking forward to him coming back this way. And he was half the price for this renewal last year. I thought 15.0 was really fair and interesting for On Guard. When at the top of the market, I'm not so keen on playing a horse who took a heavy tumble last time out. Thought he should probably be favourite in Remastered. And Calypso Calange, he's been placed in this before. I don't think he's necessarily a better horse. So the price about On Guard was, having had what I imagine would be a prep run for this, was fair enough at 15.0, Dees.
Yeah, we said that. Like, I actually put him up in this race last year because I thought he was a very interesting boy. This was only his third run after being bought from France, and he had his 2 hurdles runs, as you said. He won one of them, and he was going fine in this, but he fell, and they did land a decent punt on him in the race after at Ascot. It was actually a race that we sponsored. He went off, as you said, he went off 5.0, but I think he was a double-figure price the day before. Like he's had a run already the last 8 Exeter. He was never really on terms, but it was a fine race. It'll have blown off the cobwebs, and like you said, he's a value price. The other horse I was looking at in this as well was AC Milan. AC Milan was obviously a very good hurdler, and Anthony Honeyball, as we mentioned earlier, is almost in great form. A lot of placed horses, few winners. I'd say this is his second run after wind surgery. Anthony Honeyball as well had Sojourn last year, who finished second in this race, and I'd say this could be a race that he probably targets. I think that an extended trip in the mud at Haydock will be right up his street, so I will be backing both of those win place, AC Milan and On Guard.
I'll update that in the doc. AC Milan and no, you put that. Apologies. AC
that was
Milan,
the one you deleted there, being smart.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Just winding you up.
Yeah.
Before we come to Steve, Helen has said, would Snow Leopardess stay the Grand Nationals? Good question, Helen. You obviously think she would, Jonesy.
Yeah, she would.
Okay.
Simple answer. She'd stay 8 miles, I'd say. No bother.
Jonesy, then go on. You're keeping the faith with Remastered.
Well, I've chickened out in this race because I was really looking forward. I saw that there were 16 runners, and I like these Haydock chases. I think they're great fun. But I've totally chickened out because I wanted to take Remastered on because I didn't think the Ladbrokes Trophy was a particularly strong year for that race. And although he looked like he would have won, it was a bit far out to tell. But I just thought this was even less competitive, to be honest. And it's sort of a token tip because he's a bit short for me in a race like this, but I think he'll probably win. I hope Buster Turcoing, is that how you say it, runs well, because I think his trainer, Sam Drinkwater, who's not too far from me, I think he's very underrated. I think once he gets a good horse, he's going to hit the headline, Sam Drinkwater. I think he's good. And hopefully that's Buster to talking, but he's not got a huge amount of experience for a race like this. So I'm sticking with Remastered, but it's not exactly an inspired choice.
You are, you're not getting too excited about Remastered, but can see the angle. Right, let's kick on back to Ascot. We go. Go on.
Go back in there. Just on one horse there on this. I meant to say this to you beforehand. The top weight in this Mr. Hendricks is one to really keep an eye on. He's moved to Christian Williams from Jessica Harrington, and if you look at his previous form as P1 PP, but that one was a win in a novice chase or beginner's chase at Navan, where he beat Lord Royal, the Big Dog, Deafy Blue, a few good horses, and he looked like a really good stayer. He beat them without coming off the bridle. He's pulled up twice since, so he's obviously a hard horse to keep fit maybe and keep going. But the fact he's gone to Christian Williams now and he's entered in this race, he had another entry in the graduation chase at Ascot, and he's going to line up here. So he's a big price as well. I wouldn't be advising anyone to place a bet on him today, but maybe on the day if there's a bit of a gamble on him, keep an eye on him, and he's definitely one to add to the notebook, because that win there over Lord Royal and the Big Dog, that's good form, especially at Navan as well. If you can win on heavy ground over 3 miles at Navan, you're probably a decent stayer.
Steve?
Dees only said that because he knows that when you get together with your old posh schoolmates, they call you Mr. Hendricks because you drink gin and tonic.
I was going to make a joke about you being Mr. Hendricks, but then you did it first. Damn it. Let's move on. Tommy Whittle is done, so we're going back to Ascot for the 3 o'clock. And this is the Howden Silver Cup handicap chase over 3 miles. Bellamida picked on is 5.5. Grand Sancy is 7.5. And Sam 9.0, as is Caribbean Boy in cheek pieces for the first time. Cloth cap with the normal cheek pieces on. Jerry's back is the same price. Regal or Poor 10.0. Bigger prices the rest. Steve Jones.
When I saw what you'd put up, I must say I thought you must have been on the gin and tonic. But we'll leave that till later.
So that's my best bet of the day as well, Jonesy. And let me tell what I'm not going to hold back on the group WhatsApp when this horse wins. Go on.
I'm green and gold. I'm Team McManus in this. The first one is Phoenix Way, who I think is very interesting. Won over 3 miles over hurdles at Huntingdon a couple of years ago. And he's been running over much shorter over fences behind the likes of All Man. Was running the Henry VIII novice chase behind All Mankind. Well, he's never going to be quick enough to go there. He does need to settle. That's the thing with Phoenix Way. And he was a bit keen on. They ran him at Newbury over 2-3 or 2-4 behind Fanny and Destraval at the big meeting there last month. And he didn't jump very well. But I think going up in distance, you do have to take a bit of a chance with Phoenix Way, but he's got the ability to win this. Going up in distance and help his jumping. I'm sure he'll stay it. He's got a lot of class. And if they can smuggle him into the race, I think he's a real big chance. So although you do have to take a little bit of a few things for granted, but Phoenix Way definitely has the ability to win this. And it's second start after a breathing operation as well. So hopefully he'll go well at a nice race. I think he's about 15.0, something like that.
He is.
Well, he's got way more ability than that. So I'm willing to take that chance. The other one that you're not taking a chance with, if you back him winning place, is Regal Encore. I mean, I think he's been in the first 3 in his last 9 visits to Ascot, and he's won this race twice before. I know he's going to be 14 on New Year's Day, but he just shows so much form at Ascot, way better than anywhere else. Didn't run very well at Warwick last time, but who cares? When he's back at Ascot, he's the boy. And so a win, I'd be tempted to go small win and bigger place on Regal Encore because I just can't see him out the frame because this is less competitive than a lot of races that he runs in.
He often rocks up at a big price as well. Dees.
I agree with Jones in a way, but Phoenix Way is just too dodgy. But we'll see if the JP money comes because he is an interesting one. And I was very close to tipping you over as well, Tom, but I'll leave you do that. I'm taking a bit of a flyer with and Sam, Evan Williams' horse. Now, I was looking back at him there last year, and this is his 3rd run of the season now. And his 3rd run of the season last year, he ran in a beginner's chase at Ludlow and absolutely destroyed the field. Won by 42 lengths, but they never even got. He beat Fidelio Valles, who isn't a bad horse, but he absolutely skated away from them. He was pulled up in the spring in Sandown behind Faraday, and he's had his little break. He's running 2 handicap hurdles already this season. He finished 3rd and 4th. Hopefully they were protecting his mark. He's back in the chase here now. 6-year-olds don't have an amazing record in this race, but I think there now he's running off a nice way to 10-10. A lot of potential. If he can bring that chase from last season into this and improve a bit, I think he has a cracking chance. So I'll go him each way. And I think he's in the cool Cody colours as well. So that'll be a nice. I think it's the cool Cody colours. Looks like him anyway.
It is.
Yeah. Hopefully the anti-post double.
Right. What, Joe? What don't you like about Grand Sancy, Steve? You can argue against him first of all.
Well, he's another one that's never run over the distance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been around forever. I know he's only 7, but he's been around forever, and he's never tried this sort of trip. He never really looked like he needed it. I mean, they rode him to get the trip last time when he went up to 2.6, held him right out the back, and he just sort of managed to smuggle his way past the few that had been ridden more prominently. You don't want to go up to 3 miles, I don't think.
Well, he kept on well last time. He would have finished second without hitting the last against Cat Course, who was just laid out for the race in the late Sir Peter O'Sullivan colours. He's been dropped a pound off the back of that. Still going. He dropped a pound off the back of that. And I think 3 miles will bring out the other thing is he wants this ground. He wants good ground. I think he wants to go right-handed as well. He's very well treated off a mark of 138. This 13-runner field, I struggle to see how he doesn't make the frame. And he's a really solid win and place shout, I think, at 7.5. I've got no out-and-out win bets on the day because it's all quite open stuff. And he's my best bet on the day. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And also the interesting point that Sam Turner made on the pods last week was a lot of Paul Nicholls' horses have just sort of gone a bit backward for their second starts, but he's off the back of encouraging reappearances. Well, last time he didn't run too badly, but I think he'll take another step forward now. So Grand Sancy, I like him even more now Jonesy is against him.
The other thing with Grand Sancy is his wins have come in really competitive races of 3, 3, and even over hurdles 5, 5, 7, 8. He just likes, and I like your optimism for the weather. You must think it's going to be 30 degrees in bright sunshine because it's good to soft in places at the moment.
We're at Ascot. It's good. Good to soften places, isn't it?
Well, not according to the Racing Post. I wouldn't take their view as absolutely fact.
It has changed from good to soft in the Racing Post since we started this pod because we were talking about it beforehand. That was like they're hardly going to let it go off good.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be testing, is it? That's fine. Good. I'm looking forward to Grand Sancy running very much now. Anything else to add on this race? No. We all miss Sam Turner, let's be honest. Right, last up. This is the 335. It's the Grade 3 Handicap Hurdle, and it's competitive as heck. No Ordinary Joe 5.0. West Cork is lovely part of the world. 6.5, 7.0 Samarive. One more for the road, 11.0. Right, I'll just name the prices if you put up any bigger prices than that. And Jonesy, you've gone for a big price one.
Yeah, I have. And I'm amazed that this horse is this price, to be honest. It's Mac the Man, who won at Exeter last time, travelled really well under a big weight. They didn't go a huge pace there, but he still travelled really well and got the job done. He had to be driven out, but that was purely because the pace wasn't all that great. He's a horse, if you go back, last year was a write-off for him. He tried fences and it didn't work. And although he won at Wincanton, I didn't really think that he was ever the horse that he looked 2 years ago when he won at Warwick. And then next time he beat Protectorat and Song for Someone at Sandown. I mean, that is just unbelievable for him now. And then he went to Newbury for the big hurdle in February, the most competitive hurdle of the season. And he would have won, but he was brought away. He would have had a hell of a chance. But he was brought down at the last when he was coming there. He needs a decent pace. I think the better the race, he's an unusual horse in that respect because I always think you want to carry more weight in a lower grade, but he's a horse that can certainly handle the better races because he travels so well. And there's a lot of front runners in here. I think they'll go a good pace. The likes of Landonabo Lad, Global Citizen, and there's a few others that like to just make sure that the pace is honest, and that'll suit Mac the Man. I'm convinced he's well handicapped. He's the same mark as he was at Newbury a couple of years ago, and that race should bring him on last time at Exeter. And the reason he only won a neck, but he's only gone up £3 for that. I think he's got a fantastic chance. Winning place at about 21.0.
Yeah. He's just shortened up slightly. 19.0. So there you are.
Still good.
Right, I agree with you on the fact that this is surely going to be well run. Surely. And that is surely going to suit Tritonic. Now, I didn't think I'd ever be putting up a horse like Tritonic because I wouldn't be his biggest fan. But I suppose when he's gone off at shorter prices, like I was, he went off at 2.2 or whatever it was at Cheltenham for his reappearance run. And he was disappointing. He ran okay, I thought, last time at 11.0 when keeping on. I don't think Cheltenham is his track. I think right-handed on good ground is probably what he wants. He's a course and distance winner. He won under those terms, and then he won at Kempton as well, the Adonis over on those terms. And he's rated 141, which on he when he ran in the Triumph, he was rated 147. Strong pace, over 2 miles, right-handed, decent ground, and he's 15.0. He was nearly best bet material for me. I think he's got a really good chance. 4-year-olds have won this in the past, and I think he'll just have the ideal setup. This is much more his bag than what he had at Cheltenham on reappearance and last time as well. So yeah, I'd be pretty confident about Tritonic. Deasy?
Drop the Anchor, the Irish horse coming over to pick up an old cushy race in England. This horse has a serious engine. If you look back at his, if you actually watch back his last few races, like he won at the Dublin Racing Festival last year, 22 runner handicap, seriously competitive. Finished 7th in the county hurdle behind Belfast Banter. No, he was only 3.5 lengths off, and he stayed on from a good way back. I think if he'd been ready to be close to the pace, he could have gone very close and possibly won. He has had a little pipe opening on the flat in Navan behind Jesse Evans, and I actually watched that race. And if it was first time coming over the stalls in a while, completely missed the break, gave up about 5 or 6 lengths at the start of it, and just stayed on very well up the Navan Hill to be beaten by 4.5 lengths. That'll have him spot on for this. This is a 60 grand race. So when I saw him entered, I thought he was like one of those ones where they're just entering him just to see what mark he gets over in England, and I marked it down 146. I think he's a double figure price list. I think he's an unbelievable win place bet. Gosh and running means he's not top weight. I think he's what price is he? 16.0, 14.0, Tom?
Drop the Anchor.
Yeah.
Drop the Anchor is 17.0.
Oh, lovely.
Don't you have another one as well? You've been editing it while we've been going, but have you?
Yeah, I was kind of humming and hawing about putting this one up, but I'm going to stick with him. I think Sam Reeve, I thought he was very good the last day. He ran in the first race of the season at Cheltenham. He was a sharp price to actually put him up as race day because I just couldn't see how he was well handicapped, and he finished 7th. It was obviously just a run out, but the last day there he was very, very good. He won by 8.5 lengths, beating one of Jonesy's for Jonesy's win place bet of the season, Sam Beasy fix. But he just absolutely scooted away from him. He's only 4. There's any amount of potential there. No, he went up 11 pounds for that. But I mean, if he can bring that form on, he could be a very, very good horse. So I'll have a little small win-only bet, but I'll be going much bigger than Drop the Anchor.
Steve?
Did you say Dease was editing it as we were doing it?
Yeah.
Can I edit it? Because he's put 2 M's in it. There's only one.
Oh, is he? Very good. We have a doc, you see, that we put our bets in.
You're not getting any scarves though for that. And that could have been Tom putting the 2 M's as well, like he was messing around.
It half looks like we know what we're about to do. I thought Wayne's comment of Trichronic was quite amusing. Very good, Wayne. Enjoyed that. Right, before we get stuck into best bets, we're all done there, aren't we? Let me tell you about the sign-up offer. Yes, I was meant to do it 2 races ago, but, I'm just not a natural. £15 welcome offer, money back as cash if your first bet loses. That is the ongoing welcome offer for Matchbook. It's for new customers only. Use the bonus code INSIGHTSRF. That's the letters RF. INSIGHTSRF for that. You place your first bet. If it loses, we'll refund your stake as cash. The full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website. Sign-up offer for new customers only, £15 welcome offer, money back as cash if your first bet loses. Best bets. That little graphic there, if anybody's watching, it looked like Novak Djokovic was about to smack Deasy in the face with a tennis racket. Deasy, what's your best bet?
Thomas Darby win place in the long walk.
My best bet, just to see Steve's reaction, is Grand Sancy over 3 miles.
The great thing with those two bets is that I can't have either of them, so they'll probably both win. So I want a bit of credit if they do.
Steve, your best bet?
Sully Dock, which is in the first race that we covered at Ascot, the 150.
Excellent stuff. That is it for the Matchbook betting podcast this week. Just to give you a preview into the Christmas schedule, we'll be doing Boxing Day, our Boxing Day preview, and that will also take in the Irish action on the 27th. The Brits don't deck before Christmas for the 27th. Lazy. But we will have the Welsh National as well in that preview. And then the next one after that will be a New Year's Day preview, which happens the previous Thursday as well. So the 23rd for our pre-Christmas preview for Boxing Day. Looking forward to that. But first of all, hope you have a very successful weekend. Bye-bye.